Hey, good morning. It's 8:45 Phoenix time. Paul Romero here with StellaHouseArizona.com, wholesale training hangout number three. Joining me as usual, my partner, John Leister. Morning, John.
Good morning, Paul. How are you this morning?
Excelente.
Perfect. Yes, it's beautiful. It's a Monday morning, the start of a whole new week.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, hey, little confusion there on my part. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to start this call out today. First of all, by saying that our 8:45 start time is going to change. We're going to start doing these at 8:30. So if you, and that again, that's Arizona time. So coordinate whatever you need to do there to make sure that you're able to get here at 8:30 a.m. Arizona time. Okay. We want to start out this week by saying this is Monday, January 28th, and we want to start out this week by, again, just emphasizing the fact that, you know what, we're just like you are. If you want to get into real estate wholesaling, and doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have about real estate or sales or anything like that, you can do this because where we came from, was construction. And as far as sales goes, we weren't in sales. I think I was in sales once when I did did telemarketing about 20 years ago, and I sucked at it. It was horrible. I think I lasted 2 days before I just said, you know what, this is not for me. I'm out of here. Uh, so, but the thing is, everybody that is out there professing, come learn real estate wholesaling, etc. We'll teach you, blah blah blah. We're so successful at this, it's so easy, yada yada yada. If you look at them, they all have some sort of sales history in their story, in their bio, that they're going to tell you that they came from a place of sales, and that's obviously a part of this. It's a big part of this. It's a big key of this. It's something that we had no idea about, but you know what? It's learnable. We were able to learn it. You're going to be able to learn it, and we're going to be able to teach it to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so with that, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in here. Basically, this week's today's call, we're going to kind of get down into the nitty gritty of what it's going to take, what it's really going to take for you to be a successful real estate wholesaler. So um, there's certain things that you're going to have to get comfortable with, and the first thing that you really need if you want to be successful at this is you have to have the desire to want to do this. You have to want it. I mean, you really, really, really have to want to become a real estate wholesaler. Isn't that right, John?
Absolutely. It starts, yeah, I'm going to take it a step further. It starts with a want, which needs to be turned naturally into a desire and a burning desire to do this business. When me and Paul started out, as we talked about, we had no clue what we were really getting into, but we had a desire to do this because we knew it was time to make a change in our life. There was no other way at the time that I could think of where you can make a lot of money with very little money. So the desire for me was there from day one, and that's just gotten stronger. Actually, you've got to develop a desire, a burning desire to be successful and do this business if you're going to stick with it, because it can be tough in the beginning. That's why me and Paul are here to kind of guide you through those tough times, but you got to have a willingness and a burning desire to do this that, quite frankly, borderlines on an obsession. The only means to acquire success is by backing those plans for success with a burning desire and persistence that doesn't recognize failure. And there's one thing I want to share about desire that I find very interesting, is that there's geez, I think it was Alexander the Great. But anyway, when he conquered an island in the Mediterranean, he had such a burning desire that they were going to win this war that when his soldiers and his troops arrived on shore, he set their boats on fire, right? And he told the guys, hey, the only way we're going to survive is by winning. I mean, sometimes you need to light that match or do something to make it inevitable, but it starts with a burning desire. Like, you know, put in a situation where it's life or death, success or failure, you'll have that burning desire. So you need to develop that. And on top of that burning desire, you have to have a willingness to learn. Would you agree, Paul? A willingness to learn on top of your burning desire?
Absolutely. Well, actually, before you have the willingness to learn, you have to be a person that is teachable.
Yeah.
You have to be able to want to accept knowledge, and the only way that you can accept new knowledge into you is by having an open mind. Too many people in this world have a mindset of thinking that oh, I already know that, oh, I know that, oh, I know all about that. And you know what? The minute you say that I know that is when you have stopped your ability to learn anything about it. And you know what? You don't know nothing. I don't know anything. John knows nothing. We're learning every day, okay? Everybody is learning, and the fact of the matter is the day that you stop learning is the day that you start dying. So to be teachable, you've got to have an open mind. You've got to have an open heart. You've got to have just the desire, first of all. So it all comes down to the desire to want to learn. And if you're going to want to learn, then you have to open yourself up so that you create a willingness to accept. Until you're willing to accept new ideas and take those ideas and compare them to your old ideas and make a choice. You might know something. You might say, hey, that's a great new idea, but you know what? This old idea is better. I'm going to hang on to the old idea. But then again, you might just say, hey, you know what? This new idea is great, and this old idea, after hearing this new idea, kind of sucks. I'm going to go with the new idea, So, the teachability all comes down to your want to obtain new knowledge so that you can use that knowledge to compare it to what you already have and what you already think you know and make decisions. And, you're going to make wrong decisions. Nobody's perfect, but whether you choose to change something or whether or believe something different, or whether you choose to hang on to what you already know and think, that's the decision that you just want to have. You want to be able to have that decision. You want to be able to acquire that choice. And if you are thinking, I already know that, you've eliminated the possibility of having that choice. And so, in order to be teachable, you have to be open-minded, you have to have an open heart, and you have to be willing to accept new information. And once you've accepted the new information, then that's where, like John said, there's always, you have to have a willingness to learn. And that's the next kind of step that you have to have. So first of all, it's a desire. You really, really want this, and you have a burning desire. You need to be teachable, and then the next thing is you have to have a willingness to learn. Isn't that right, John?
Yeah, you have to, as to reiterate a point that Paul made, the moment you say, I know that, or, oh, yeah, I hear what you're saying, I get it, I get it, you don't get nothing. If you think you know it, or you say, I know that, or I get that, you've shut down. So you have to be, as Paul said, teachable, which leads us to having a willingness to learn, and you have to become a learn-it-all rather than a know-it-all. You don't know what you don't know. I mean, as Paul said, I don't know everything. I don't know nothing. I always look for a better way to do things every single day. Every time I stumble upon a new piece of information that helps me in a negotiation, helps me when I go and make a sale or when I'm talking to a seller, I say, great, I've got this new piece of information. This works well, but what else can I learn to make this work better? So it's that willingness to learn and keep learning every day, day by day, and open to that, open to becoming a learn-it-all, never a know-it-all. Even the mentors have mentors who have mentors. You see, the willingness to learn has to be there. And I would also say, on top of that willingness to learn, so far we've talked about the burning desire, you being teachable, and having an openness, willingness to learn. You have to also be willing to unlearn a few things. You know, realize that some of the stuff that you think you know might be bad information. You know, actually, one of my mentors taught me this, and in hearing his lessons, it almost took me a full year to really realize what he was saying. But we're filled with so much nonsense that part of the learning is the ability to unlearn things that you've learned, which leads me to the kind of another piece moving forward, is that you have to kind of want to change. I think that the next step would be being open to change. What do you think, Paul? Being open to change, wanting to change?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, just to run back through, first of all, if you to be successful at not just real estate wholesaling, pretty much anything in life, you have to, number one, really, really, really want it. You have to have that burning desire that says deep down inside of you, this is it. I'm going to make it happen. You have to be teachable. You have to open your mind to new ideas. You have to be willing to accept these new ideas and be open to potentially changing some old ways of thinking. Your willingness to learn. You have to be, as John said, want to be transition yourself from a know-it-all into a learn-it-all, meaning you need to have another secondary burning desire, and that is to go out there and obtain new knowledge, you know, by reading books and watching videos and listening to CDs and going to seminars and, you know, finding people that are doing what you're doing or what you want to do, finding people who are successful at doing what you want to do and modeling them, doing what they do. So your willingness to learn is a key factor, because if you're not willing to learn anything, you don't have the desire to go out there and try to find the stuff that you need to be obtaining, then you're not going to look for it, and you're never going to find it. And then once you have gotten to this point and you're finding this information and you're willing to process it, then you have to want, not think it's a good idea to, and not, you know, feel like I probably should, or not think that, you know, oh yeah, if I have to. You have to actually, you have to literally want. Again, another desire. You have to want to change. You have to understand that who you are right now is not going to take you where you want to be. That I have to change myself. You know, not 100%. You don't have to change everything about you. You don't have to get rid of your personality. You don't have to, you know, if you're a nice person, you don't have to become a jerk. You know, nothing like that whatsoever. But the way that you think about business, and the way that you think about money, and the way that you think about certain things, the way that you think about things is really what you need to be, what you really have to want to change. And you gain that want, and that the desire for that want, you gain that through the first few steps of, first of all, finding something that you have a burning desire to become or do, you know, deciding that you're going to be teachable and accept new information, becoming a learn-it-all, and going out and seeking all this new information. And then once you are getting all of this information, then, like I said, you have to be willing to take it in and make the changes that are going to take you to where you want to go. So that's pretty much where your want, your need, your desire to actually change. Because you know what? If you want things in your life to change, then you're going to have to change things in your life. It's just that simple. If you want things in your life to change, and you don't begin to change things in your life, then you are, quote, by definition, an insane person. Because obviously you're now thinking that you can do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, which that is the definition of insanity. So in order to avoid going insane, you have to want to change. And which leads us into the fifth thing that you really have to have in all of this, to really tie it all together, is that you have to believe that you can make it happen. Would you agree, John?
Absolutely. A belief that you can make it happen. Me and Paul's background should be proof positive that anybody can really make it, and something they desire to do that's completely out of the realm of their knowledge and completely out of their, one thing we haven't brought up in this call, comfort zone. That's part of learning and growing, is getting out of your comfort zone. And believing in yourself helps with the confidence you need to go through these steps. And when you discover what it is that your burning desire is, and you become teachable, and you are willing to learn, and you're willing to accept that you're going to have to change, and I wanted to just add a piece to change, come out of your comfort zone, which we'll talk more about on further calls. The next thing you have to kind of do is develop a belief in yourself, a faith in yourself, a belief that what you desire is attainable. And everything that we're going to go through, that we've gone through today, and everything we're going to go through on future phone calls, is something that I know that anybody can learn this. Anybody can do this. Doesn't matter how smart you are. Does not matter where your education level is. Doesn't matter if you graduated high school. Hell, doesn't matter if you can read or write. Maybe a little bit. You're going to have to sign your name to close contracts. But belief. You can do it. Simple as that. Have faith. And that's another thing that we're going to go through on future calls, how to develop belief and how to develop faith in yourself. You might have a hard time in the beginning believing in yourself, but it's important that you do. And I think I want to turn it back to Paul and see if he has anything he wants to add to that.
I do. You hit something there that really strikes a chord, and you said that you have to believe that it's attainable, and that in and of itself right there is the key point of your belief. You've got to believe that you can, not just that you can do this, you've got to believe that you will do this. You've got
Yes.
to believe that no matter what, no matter how, even, I don't even know how right now. I have no idea that why or how this is going to work out or when it's going to work out, but you just have to believe and know that it is going to work out. Strong belief could also be considered as a strong knowing. I just know that this is going to happen. I just know that this is it. There is no question in my mind. I'm not worried about how it's going to happen. I'm not worried about when it's going to happen. I'm not worried about what it really is going to take to happen. I just know that it's going to happen, and that's the real heart and soul of the belief factor here. And the thing is, if you are worried about all of the little nuances, if you get worried about, oh, I don't know how to fill out contracts, or if you get worried about, gosh, I don't have a realtor, or if you get worried about, um, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be good on a phone call, or if you're worried about, if you're worried about any, little pieces here and there, what you're doing is you're instilling doubt into your belief. And once you instill doubt into your belief, you're counteracting your belief. And so you're weakening it, and you're not sending out the message that, I have this strong belief and this strong desire, and I'm willing to learn all these things. The minute you start putting doubt into the equation, you weaken all of that, and you make it impossible for it to happen. So your belief has to be undeniable, unquestionable, and it just has to be wholeheartedly, full strength. I believe that even though I have no idea how or when or where or why or what, but I believe it's going to happen. And that's huge key to your belief system and making sure that you tie all 5 of these things together. So with that, are you back on the call, John?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Cool. So, yeah, John's going to give you just the real quick recap of what we talk about here. That, if you want to become a successful real estate wholesaler, and quite honestly, if you want to become a successful anything, these are the basic 5 things that you need. Why don't you give them a recap on that, John, and then we'll close this call out.
All right. Before I start that recap, I just want to point out one thing. You're going to go through these calls, and you might say to yourself, as you might be saying right now, is like, man, these guys are repeating themselves quite a bit. But that's the mother of learning, is repetition. And if any mentor that you have moving forward, and if there's something that they're repeating over and over again, it's something that you might want to stop and say, hey, this is important information. This stuff's pretty basic, I get that, but the basics are really so important. With that being said, the 5 steps. Number 1, burning desire. You've got to want to do this, or whatever it is you choose as your vehicle towards success. You have to have a strong burning desire to do it. Number 2, you have to be teachable. Number 3, you have to go from a know-it-all to a learn-it-all and be willing to learn and possibly, definitely, unlearn a lot of things. You have to want to go through that process, and you're going to have to want to change what's between the ears, because that's the inner game. That's the most important thing, is what goes on in our own heads. And then you have to believe and have faith in yourself, and that whatever it is that you desire is attainable to you. And I missed Paul there for about 2 minutes. I don't know if he recommended the Napoleon Hill book, but I think another thing we're going to be doing on these calls is recommending some key books that, quite frankly, you read these books, will change your life. I would recommend Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. The first 2 chapters of the book, the first chapter talks about desire, and the second chapter talks about faith and belief. I'd recommend reading that book, and I want to just tell everyone to have a great week, and I'm going to sign off here, and I'm going to turn it back over to Paul just to say goodbye.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I hadn't gotten to the book yet, Don, but yeah, because I wanted to end with a quote, actually, out of that book from Napoleon Hill, and I was going to tell everybody that, you know what, if you've never read the book, prove to yourself right now that you are at least teachable, and listen to both John and I when we tell you to run out today and go get a copy of that book. You can oftentimes find them at a thrift shop or something like that for a discounted price if money's an object. If not, then just run down to your bookstore. They always have a copy, brand new, in several facets: hardback, softback, paperback, whatever you want to call it. And then
also, Paul, I just want to throw in one thing. You can actually if money's a real issue, you can listen to audio version on YouTube for free. But go ahead.
There you go. Everything on YouTube, everything is free. Everything on YouTube is free, and everything you could ever think about wanting is on YouTube somewhere. So yeah, there's an option for you as well too. But realistically, that's great if you need to start there if money is an issue. But there's nothing like having hard copy in your hand and actually reading the printed words off the page. That really always is a way that knowledge really sinks into our brains a whole lot deeper. Even opposed to, I mean, not sure about a Kindle. Maybe those things are similar to a real book. It seems like they are. I haven't actually used one, but like reading things off your computer screen or listening to the audios, that's all great stuff. But actually holding the book in your hand, feeling the paper, seeing the printed word, reading the printed word is always the strongest way to devour the information, and that's what I suggest you do with Think and Grow Rich, is devour that information. So with that said, I want to leave you with this quote directly out of the book, which Napoleon Hill says that, whatever the mind of a man can conceive, I'm going to throw in whatever the mind of a man or a woman can conceive and bring itself to believe, it can achieve. That's the key, and bring itself to believe. And it's funny how John mentioned the book and how the first two chapters are desire and faith, which are number 1 and number 5 of what we told you the things that you need to have are. And we put the 3 things in between there to kind of help you tie the two together. So with that, I wish you all a great week, a great day today and tomorrow. We'll be back on Wednesday. Remember, the time is 8:30 a.m. Arizona time, and we'll be picking it up here and moving on to the next step, where I think we're going to be talking about some of the nuts and bolts kind of tools that you're going to need for a wholesale investing business. All right? So have a great day.